Morning and welcome to Event Horizons. What a pleasure to be with you this morning, but unfortunately there is sad breaking news to share, at least according to what the media is claiming. Excuse me a second, guys. And they're claiming that Malaysia Flight 370 concluded its flight, or rather finished its flight in the Indian Ocean, and that was when they last had a report. So they are stating that it has crashed there. I have no idea. It's really challenging with situations like this, guys. When something has dragged on for so long and so long, they can get all their ducks in a row and say whatever they like. So I'll be awaiting new reports, but that is what just came out probably 2 minutes ago on CNN, and the representative from Malaysian Airlines, or if he was a representative from the government, had to have the sound turned back off. But that was what he is stating, and that is what they're claiming to be fact. Now, there are a lot of weird things going on with that, but we'll get to that later. If you're tuning in for the first time, a big welcome. It's great to have you with us here at Event Horizons. We come to you from Monday through Friday, and we're on from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Time. We have a diversity of information from hosts with different specialties, people in different parts of the world, an awful lot of things that might be considered awful. As I repeat that word, going on, but there's a lot of good things too. More people are waking up, more people are coming together, and we have to support those efforts and pay attention carefully. And remember, get vocal and get local, get connected on the community level, share, have victory gardens, community gardens, everybody can participate. The big focus, guys, is how can you be viable? How can you be self-sufficient? And if you start getting those strong bonds set up with the other people in your community, you'll be amazed when you spread it out over everybody, because we all have the same basic needs. There's a lot that will be accomplished. Now, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, I want you to know that we are the largest listener-sponsored radio network. That's Revolution Radio, and it's because of our listeners, and that is quite an achievement. We have quite a diverse schedule of shows and hosts and information. We are all volunteer, from the producers to the hosts, and that is why your support is so critically important. So please head over to freedomslips.com for Event Horizons. You hear us in Studio A, and on Wednesdays for my afternoon interview show, that's What They Don't Want You to Know. That is in Studio B from 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, my website is healthfreedomrights.com, and I welcome your emails. I just got an email from someone regarding a potential guest who I have to check out and see, and we will proceed accordingly. But I got back to the person making the recommendation, as I try to get back to everyone who has concerns and recommendations, because we're a big extended family, guys. You're part of it. So your input is quite valuable. I want to hear what's on your mind, because obviously that's why we're here, to get out the news to you. So when there's something important, or someone who you feel has important information to share, then let us know. Now, let's see. My website is healthfreedomrights.com. You can write to me there with the Contact Us button. That makes it easier than spelling my name. There are links there for my email, all down that very, very long home page, which I hope you will check out for some of the articles about the cholesterol myth, about preparedness for radiation exposure. There's a lot on there of really important information. That's why I've kept it there. And I know a lot of people complain, oh, it's so long, but it's worth scrolling down. And then, of course, you can use the links at the top to navigate. Now, obviously, with a name like Health Freedom Rights, and as I'm a physician, I'm an Oriental medical doctor, homeopathic physician, and I have additional training in other modalities, some of which are Western medicine. I have a big focus on medicine. But you know, guys, that reaches over into the environment. That reaches over into the other creatures that we share this planet with. It reaches over into the economy. It reaches over into politics. It seems it's all connected, just like our bodies. The misguided notion that seems to take place with much of Western medicine, that if you have a problem in your shoulder, well, that's all, doesn't affect anything else. Well, it does, and a lot of times it's a symptom for referred pain from another part of the body. You really need to look at the big picture, and then you zoom in for finer details. And that's kind of the information that W is giving everybody on Thursday about looking at the big picture, trying to back out and see how it all comes together on this geopolitical scale. And then you start to see how it breaks down and affects the people. If you have not yet read the report from Iron Mountain, I urge you to do so. It will give you clarity, and it will give you perspective on what we are looking at now. And from when I read the book, that was last summer, to where things are now, it just is mind-boggling that they have ramped up at the speed with which they have. Now, let me see here. This morning, we're going to bring on Melanie Vritschan. Melanie is usually on with us on Fridays, but it's been so challenging for Melanie at the end of the week because of the time difference. So it runs into all other kinds of meetings. But I know Melanie has big news to share, and we can support a lot of Melanie's efforts, and she'll tell us exactly how. Can we get Melanie on the air, Producer Jerry, please? I didn't check to see if she was around.
Yeah, she's on now. Give me just a second.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, wow. It sounds like our problems have all faded away. Good sound. Ah, okay. Okay. We're going to have Melanie.
There she is.
Thank you, Jerry. Good afternoon, Melanie. How are you?
Good afternoon, Robin. I'm very well. I expected to call a little later, at 1 hour later, but I think you have changed maybe to the summertime. But never mind.
No, sorry about that. Yes, we have changed to spring. Yes, I forgot. It was long day yesterday, Melanie. So I see you have something new on your Skype picture. Do you have breaking news for us?
Yes, indeed. So, and I just can't send a few pictures to Jerry. I apologize if I'm eating up your display, Jerry. Yes, I do have something new. In fact, I've been approached by a political movement which is called Les Pour les Belges.be. They are, it means stand up Belgians. Which is presided by the member of parliament, Mr. Laurent Louis, and they have approached me and offered to me that I would run as a candidate for the European election as one of their candidates. And in this framework, these are the pictures I've just sent to Jerry. Also, beginning of the month, we opened what is called a dissidents library. And this dissidents library, the pictures I've sent to Jerry, is in fact one of the persons that was selling her books there and presenting her work is a French lady called Corinne Gouget. and she has published various books on the dangers of these substances in our food that render you very quickly addicts, and most people are not aware. And I met her. She's also a candidate for the Boule Belge on the same list, the European list that I am. And I met her at this opening of this dissident library where she was presenting her books, where the member of parliament who was presiding this political movement was also present. So I would say it's breaking news, because even if I don't get elected, it will provide us, Robin, with a platform, talking to press and media about this problem of, non-consensual implantation of citizens by the technology.
Sure.
So I think it's very good.
Congratulations. It's very exciting, Melanie. Yeah. And when are these elections going to be? What websites? Where do we vote? Where do we support you?
The European elections are, depending on the country, from the 22nd to the 25th of May. Here in Belgium, we vote on the 25th. So, you cannot really vote for me. I mean, unfortunately, as an American, yes. But you can via our shows, you can support my campaign, and so that's already something. I will put the website in the chat so people can look it up. But the thing is, it's in French, so because it's a French-speaking political movement here in Belgium. But the president has very many ideas, that I also share. Like, for example, reducing the costs for, when you are an employee, for example, here, you pay 55% tax on your income, which is crazy. So he has got many ideas of justice.
Excuse me, Melanie, how much did you say? 55%?
55% is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So and that has led to a situation where indeed many Belgian citizens or European citizens do not know anymore how to actually fill up their fridge till the end of the month, and the country is very much impoverished. Also, the fact that unfortunately, via Europe, many companies delocalize. So because like the average salary in Romania, for example, which is also part of the European Union, is 350 euros, whereas a Belgian worker owns, if he's lucky, between 2,000 and 2,300 euros. So it's impossible, and most of the companies then delocalize. So we have to find some kind of balance here. In any case, I'm also pleased that tomorrow, actually, Kevin Annette from Canada is arriving, who's organizing this international tribunal for pedophiles, to judge pedophiles there, like the two last popes. So I'm meeting him, and I have organized a meeting with him and Mr. Laurent Louis as well, because Laurent Louis is also fighting pedophilia here in Belgium. So I have the impression that now all the right people, Robin, kind of meet themselves, and together.
Right. I have a question, Melanie. Would you say people in Brussels, or I know it's the home of the EU, are they happier with the EU? Has their quality of life improved over the years?
Well, that is exactly the problem. Generally, they're not, because what we were thought at the beginning was that the idea of the EU would be that we would trade together, and and in fact, what it has now boiled down to, that is actually they're building like an empire very much on the model actually of the USA, so like a federal system where we have no more national power, national control about our markets, of our politics, anything. So, and the cost of living has risen dramatically. So it's a Europe of the rich they're building, and so people are very dissatisfied with that. So it is about time that we changed.
Yeah, sure. I hear you. I remember covering closely what was happening to Greece and how people around the world were blaming the Greek people. They didn't recognize those signs and symptoms when the bankers step in with the different monetary funds, the International Money Fund, how they just keep getting these countries further and further in debt, and that's part of the plan.
Yes, absolutely. So, and also, like in Debout de Belge, one of the projects of the movement is that we would like to cancel the public debt, because in Belgium, public debt is now more than, I hope you see it, 400 billion euros.
Wow.
So there's no way we can ever, pay that back. So one of the aims is that we will cancel the public debt, because it's just not feasible. So there are many things we have to work on to improve the quality of life, for our citizens.
Huh.
And I hope that also, this international tribunal that is happening here on next Monday, organized by Kevin Annette, is about to judge pedophiles and child trafficking. But I do hope that, because this is basically a people's trial, a people's tribunal, I do hope that we would one day actually be able to organize something like that, also for the victims of remote influencing technologies, of covered technologies, because this is also a crime against humanity.
Yes.
And our politicians or our justice system is not able or not willing to deal with this, well, then I would say that we have to do it by ourselves.
Gosh.
So I hope that I'm attending the tribunal, and I hope that I can maybe learn to how to set something up for covered technology victims.
Yeah, that's outstanding, Melanie, to be able to get that coverage.
So,
well, and the fact that they're welcoming you, I'm so happy to hear that, because you've got a receptive government. This is wow.
Yeah, well, Mr. Laurent Louis is one of the only members of parliament who's actually standing up to all this tyranny and injustice and wants a change. So he is in the opposition, if you want. But what has also helped me, or raised their interest in me and my work, and that's what I wanted to thank you also, Robin, is for example that they were listening to my YouTubes, to our shows.
Sure.
Yes, so, and others that I did, and said, well, this lady has something to say, and we would like to work with her. So
yeah, this lady is a powerhouse. Co-founding important organizations and making testing available so people can no longer be written off as crazy because of what their experience. I think of the peace of mind and the change in quality of through your hard work, Melanie. Yeah, you're doing very important work.
Yeah, but I couldn't have done it, and they would have probably never, gotten aware of my work and me if you hadn't given me or us this platform via the show, for example. They have listened to various of our shows and found it very interesting.
Well, I'm very pleased to hear that. That makes me feel wonderful, because it's just so important. I know the the story that you've shared with us and so many other people that have come under attack all over the world. I believe that the one colleague of yours who's in Turkey now, I mean, she makes that point so clearly. There was no place that she could go to get away from it.
True, yeah, and she's still not free from harassment there now. And what's also interesting, I think, in this movement, the Vritschan, as I said, this nutritionist, Corinne Gouget, actually, she also joined the movement as a candidate, and I met her at this opening of this dissident library, of which I sent a photo to Jerry, and it is very interesting. She has also a very horrible story. This is just to show how much dissidents are repressed, or anybody that that questions the official, the powers in place. Or she actually edited she went to England, where the father of the children worked or still works in one of the major food industries. And unfortunately, he was abusing her two daughters. So she very quickly went back to France and lived a happy life with the children until she published this book about all the dangers of food, and was basically via writing this book attacking Monsanto and other big food industry. And very quickly then, Robin, and this is how we linked up a little bit. There was a custody procedure that was introduced against her. She was declared mentally ill, and the children were sent back to England to their abusive father, where they still are, and she hasn't seen her children now for 8 years.
Oh my God, Melanie, that's an outrage.
So
8 years, wow.
This is just to show, how quickly the system is in repressing dissidents and people that speak the truth. And she has now engaged herself as a candidate as well. For like really health freedom rights on the health side. Maybe it would be interesting if you interview her once as well, Robin, because she speaks perfect English, having lived in Britain for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah. So she now is, has engaged herself in this movement as well, and is campaigning for our health rights and health freedoms rights. So.
Oh, sure, we'd have a lot in common.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I thought it was very interesting to meet her, and that she's in the same movement now. So I will be taking more, care of everything that is linked to justice. Sure. And I think she will focus more on health issues. I mean, but they're very closely linked, of course.
Yes, that's what we find. The more you dig around, the more you find it's all connected. So can you give out the sites? Is there a new site now where people can...
this is in French. I will type it in here.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you make a Facebook page? Because if you make a Facebook page for what you are doing and for the political position that you're running for, I mean, it will count and motivate people to see how many likes and followers you have there.
Yes, I will do that. I used to have a Facebook page, but imagine when I discussed a little bit too much about chemtrails or whatever, suddenly it was closed down, and very strange. And I've never able to open it again, but I will try to open another one up. In any case, I will be my candidature and my profile will also be officially announced in April, beginning of April, and it will be then on the site of the party. It's not a party; it's a political movement, only run by citizens.
Oh my gosh, Melanie! I just realized as you're saying that, I was thinking April, then it's like we're at the end of March already. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's not far away. So as soon as this is set up, I will of course send you the link. So
wonderful.
I think.
Big news. Well, with you, there's always big news. What can I say?
Yeah, we'll see what we can create. But even if I don't get elected, which, I mean, I think chances are pretty slim that I get elected, but at least this will provide me with a platform and get us media attention.
Yes.
Mainstream media in this case. So that's I think, a big step forward.
I'm very impressed because here people don't get to run. You know, they've got it broken down to the illusion of having two parties, which are really the same thing, and we just desperately in the States need to vote nobody in any of those parties anymore to drive that message home. You know, we've got to get rid of everybody in office because they're all responsible for the problems we have. Are people, well, yes, you were sharing that the people in the EU are equally as unhappy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, absolutely. And, well, just here, actually here, to run the members of the parliament from big parties only need 3 signatures of outgoing members to be able to run. In this case, it's a citizen's candidate, it's an independent candidate, so with a political movement that is called Stand Up Belgians, and he had to get 5,000 signatures to be able to run. So every weekend with his supporters, he went, all over Belgium and was, collecting these signatures, which he has. So it's now clear that he will be able to run. But also here, he was illegally arrested last weekend when he was trying to, or 2 weeks ago, when he was trying to collect the signature, which is what he had to.
Okay, and we are back. Wow, what a pleasure to hear so much good news from our team member, Melanie Vritschan. Gosh, we value Melanie so highly and have so much respect for her and the important work that she is doing. She truly has been part of making changes to make so many people's lives better so that they cannot fall victim to the different harassments, threats, attempted psychiatric incarcerations. I mean, there is so much that goes on that you would not know about, and so many people whose lives would not be touched and made better were it not for Melanie and the organizations that she is working with. So we're looking forward to getting all these links and sharing them with you. And those of you in Brussels, in Belgium, please keep in mind that you can support directly by voting. Gosh, guys, that's what voting is supposed to be. It's supposed to be about the issues that concern you, the politicians that represent those issues that concern you. And that should be the determining factor. This party nonsense is just that, nonsense. It's an illusion. And if you like smoke and mirrors, well, then keep voting in the same people and you'll get the same garbage over and over and over. Now, we've got an example for you, and I did promise that I would get back to this story. I will repost it again on my Facebook page, and Producer Jerry, I'll give it to you again in case you don't have the story link.